Thank you so much. Thank you, Dorcas. Yeah, so we're doing this check-in to look back and see if we applied all the things that we know about financial fitness in between January and July, and also to look back, identify mistakes that we have made and see how we can do things better for the second half. I'm going to be talking to Wami for 30 minutes, and thereafter we have Diko on the call, and he's going to talk to us for a few minutes on what we can do to create wealth in terms of investment opportunities. And I do have some specific questions for him. I told Wami that we're going to start the session by looking inwards as coaches. Herself and myself, we're going to talk about the things that we did well between January and July and the things that we didn't do well. Now, ladies and gentlemen around the call, I want you to be as open as you can, because in this community, we share, we help ourselves. Now we have people joining us from Canada, and I can see Rebecca online. She's a chartered accountant as well, and she's a prospective guest on this program. She's going to be a guest one day soon. And I can see my friends from the UK. I can see Kunle is joining us from New Jersey. So we are all spread across the world. And so, but there's no difference between financial fitness wherever, in whichever location that you find yourself. So I want us to be as blunt as we can. If you learned some lessons between January and July, please put in the chat box. Wami and I will be talking about lessons that we both learned shortly, or put in the chat box what you learned or what you think you could have done better between January and July. Now across the, we also, apart from people, being in different locations, we also have varied ages. One of the things that I said to myself that I will share today is that after this session, none of us would or should be in a position to be a CBEX victim. Timileyin is joining us from Ibadan, and I think that's where the headquarters of CBEX was before the crash. If we don't know the right things to do, then we're prone to making mistakes. But I think it's even a worse error if we know the right things to do, and then we don't do them, and then we still become victims of Ponzi schemes and shams. Now, Coach, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first? What lesson have you learned between January and July?
I think you should go first, and I'll just do after. Yes.
I always am very happy to share. I'm always very happy to share, because I know that when I share, people can learn from my mistakes. I think one of the things that I did wrong between January and July, and my friends around the call, please feel free to laugh in the chat box if you want to laugh at me. And I'm a coach, I'm a finance expert. But I got so busy that I forgot an investment, and I hope my business partner and my husband is not around the call. And I forgot an investment, and I did not roll over. In addition to being a finance coach, I pride myself to say that I'm a Christian, right? But this is something that I've not been able to confess and say to him, or maybe I have now confessed, but I didn't tell him the gravity of the loss that we suffered as joint owners of that asset that I forgot to roll over. So the lesson is that you don't invest and look away. And I learned it. It cost me, it cost us some money, some good money, because the investment matured, and because I wasn't doing the regular checking that I should, or maybe I had it too staggered apart. Maybe I wasn't doing the monthly thing that I should have been doing. And so an investment matured, and I just didn't know. It was just the bank was floating on it for some time. So that's one mistake that I made. But one thing that I did learn, because we're talking about mistakes and lessons, is the power of negotiation with vendors. And so I had a service provider who said to me that I'm on their phone package, and the contract was for 2 years. And you know how these vendors come to you and they give you an offer. And so I was getting a discount, very good discount for the first 2 years. And suddenly, the monthly cost of receiving the service went up. What many people would do will say, okay, I called them and they said, yeah, it's because the discount period has lapsed. You can just go to bed and say, okay, it's lapsed, I'm going to continue with you, and start paying the new rate, which was almost like 30% on top of what I was paying before. But I said to them, I said, I can't afford this. And I'm going to stop using your services. I was kept on the phone for at least 20 minutes. And I know, someone that laughed at me for staying on the line for 20 minutes. But they did come back. And when they came back, what I now have to pay is actually lower than what I was paying before they took away their discount. So what's the lesson in that? Negotiate. And in any circumstance that you find yourself, even in stores in Nigeria, it was from a friend that I discovered a Park and Shop. You can ask for discounts in Park and Shop. Many people don't know. There are discount percentages that they offer in Park and Shop. And so the power of negotiation and the power of, making sure that you don't just take what vendors offer you. So I learned that lesson. It was a good one. And I also learned the bitter lesson of forgetting an investment where it should be. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go straight to the question and answer. Coach Wami, do you want some time? Do you want me to start talking with Deep Oil or something? There's a little bit, do you have to attend to something?
I would appreciate that. My kids are like everywhere and my partner is just a few minutes away. So, but it's fine if someone else can't talk before me.
Okay. But
Thank you.
Okay. Deepo, you're on the spot now. Are you ready? I'm so sorry you are going to be like later, but I know that you're ever ready.
Good evening, everyone, from those in Nigeria and in diaspora. Good day. My name is Deepo Ojo. Yes, I'm ready.
I'm trying to spotlight you. I'll need you to put on your camera. Or you want to talk without camera? Oh, good.
Anyway, yeah. My camera is on.
You're not biking, are you? Because Deepo bikes. Deepo bikes is one of the few friends that I have in Nigeria that when I think of them and their exercise routine, I cover them with the precious blood of Jesus, because we know how, the risk and all of that. But, the God has been keeping you. You are Amen. On Deepo. Deepo is my personal financial advisor, and he has helped me so much, my husband and I. He's helped us with diversification of our investments, and he's always my go-to person when I have certain questions. Deepo, I want to ask you one question. So I have people in diaspora around the call. Now, I have a niece, very intelligent niece, who lives in, North America, and she wanted some investment advice. And I had related and tied her to, a coach in the country where she lives, which is Canada. But then I started looking at the rates that are being offered in Canada and the rates that are being offered now in Nigeria. And honestly, it's because I haven't had time. I was going to say, should I advise my niece to start changing some of her money back to Naira and investing in Nigeria instead of, the government, the guaranteed certificates, income investment certificates that I had pointed her to and the coach that I pointed her to? Is my question clear?
Very clear.
Thank you. What do you advise?
Okay, so basically, your niece, I would assume, is below the age of 30.
She is below 30.
So yes, with investment, she's at the stage where she can take reasonable calculated risk.
Can you increase your volume a bit? Deepo, can you increase your volume a bit?
Hold on. Is it better now?
Should be, but I'm at my maximum here.
Okay, so like we all know with investments, the age determines the investment horizon that you can take and the instruments you can invest in. So since she's below the age of 30, I would suggest that she does a reasonable cross from our home currency to Naira. The stock exchange today has been ridiculous in terms of returns. You talked about mistakes that were made by people. Yes, part of my personal mistake this year was I took my eyes off the ball in the stock market, and a lot of things have happened. I mean, we all know GT Bank has crossed 100 Naira. MTN stock is over 400 from about 300 or thereabout beginning of the year. That's roughly about 25% or more returns.
I think they are struggling to hear you, Dipo. I think I'm not the only one struggling to hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just hold on.
Thank you, Tunji. I thought it was only from here.
I'm trying to adjust my.
Okay.
Is it better now?
You know, because what you're saying to us, Dipo, is very important. I don't want us to lose it. Wami, are you ready now?
Is it better off now?
Yeah, it's better. I think
good.
It's the headphone.
So,
I think Wami is ready.
Headphone.
You take this question, Dipo, and then I'll come to Wami. Please, just this question, right? And you start again.
Okay, good. So,
do you mind starting again?
Yeah, okay. The age of the investor is very important, and we've rightly established that she's below 30. She's at the age where she can take reasonable amount of risk. And I'm looking at where the stock market has performed in terms of some particular FUGA stocks, First Bank, UBA, GT, Access, and Zenith this year. I would 100% say that she starts gradually crossing a bit of a currency to put a bit in the stock market. And the average return we've seen in fixed money market instruments, commercial papers, the mutual funds has over between 20 and 23%, which is still reasonably better than what she would get in her home country. However, the risk she stands is the currency volatility. To address that, we've also seen a relative stability in the Naira exchange rate, hovering between 1,550 to 1,600 since the beginning of the year. So I think by and large, she can do a cross, albeit gradually, target a percentage in the stock markets and a percentage in the money market. But for stock market, target growth and dividend paying stocks. So I think that should address that. Okay,
thank you, Dipo. Thank you. I know you know it's not that I'm using Wayo to get free financial advice. We'll come back to you.
No problem.
Thank you so much. So, Wami, I want to start with you telling us what you learned between January and July and what you did well, what you're proud of.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you, everyone, for having me. I have two screens on because one screen is trying to mess up, and I'm like, no, this can happen today on this call. So, just in case you are seeing me in two places, it's still me. So, Coach has rightly introduced, my name is Wami, and I love anything financial advice. Again, pardon kids' noise. If you are abroad, you obviously know the reason why that is happening. So, but I'm sure we can all hear me and we can see me, right? Yes. So, one of the things that I would say was my own mistake in the past 6 months is giving some advice and not actually taking the advice. So there was a time that the stock market was down, and I actually gave my advice. Now, when I mean the stock market, I mean the US stock market, and it was very obvious because of the news that was all around going on. What's his name now? Trump decided to wake up and release tariffs, and that thing affected the market, like the US market, seriously. And obviously, a lot of stocks came down in value. I like to use Nvidia as one very good stock because I love it. I love it, I love buying it. And I remember giving someone the recommendation. I'm like, you can go ahead and buy Nvidia. It's at a good price now. And Nvidia dropped to somewhere around $80 for one share. and I forgot to buy myself, and I just moved on with life. And boom, 2 months down the line, Nvidia is back to $170, and I'm like, my head is like, what the hell? How did you forget to buy at the time? So that was one financial mistake I know I made. I gave advice and I forgot to take the advice myself, and I mean that's for the past 6 months. However, for the past 5 years, and I would like to talk about it because I believe a few people must have gone into the whole CBEX issue and may have affected them. But I've been in schemes before that actually went south. Like when I mean went south, went really south. I thought I was never going to recover from that kind of experience. But one thing I learned out of that lesson is that sometimes some things happen for you to take the lesson and move on. So I'll give a very, very direct example. I joined I'll call it a scheme because it eventually went out, like went down after a while. But the scheme was all about teaching people how to invest in the forex market directly without going through some agencies, and then they portrayed more of the education part more than anything else. But looking in retrospect now, it was very clear that it was just a multi-level marketing stuff. So I obviously jumped into it with the knowledge that, oh, I just want to learn how to be better in the forex market. This was like 3 years ago. And boom, 6 months, 1 year. In fact, that scheme actually lasted really well because even some influencers in Nigeria carried it. They were promoting it, and it was looking really good. So, and personally, I mean, I've had the finance knowledge, but I really wasn't using it at the time because I was just a chartered accountant, like almost every other chartered accountant out there, just going to work and coming back. But I wasn't really using the knowledge very well, and that affected me and made me make that wrong financial decision. So some schemes may come in short term, some schemes may be really long term. I think that scheme lasted for like 3 years plus in Nigeria then, but at the end of it, eventually crashed. And because it's multi-level marketing, anything that has to do with bring this person, bring that person, please run as far as you can, because at the end of the day is who knows more people that get to win out of those kind of schemes than you that is just going there for the knowledge. And again, knowledge part, I took my lessons, and today I'm using some of the things I learned in that scheme for the forex market to do my own personal trading at the moment. So I hope I didn't go out of the question, and I hope I answered the question correctly.
No, you did not. You did not. You told us what you missed doing. What have you done well? Sorry, can Mrs. Matthew put off her camera and maybe put her hand down, please? Mrs. Matthew, your camera is on. Yes, coach. Do you want to share?
Okay, so what I've done well is, like I said earlier, I've taken the lessons from my previous wrong decisions, and I decided to go and really learn what is right. And that was when I discovered that there's a difference, a very clear difference between trading in stocks and investing in stocks. And what I was trying to do previously was just trade in stocks. And that's where the forex market come in, the crypto market come in, all the daily trades up and down, they all fall under the trading in stocks. That was when I understood that, oh, there's a clear difference now. So if I want to trade in stocks, it's quite different. If I want to invest in stocks, which is like investing in companies, it's quite different as well. So that particular scenario helped me learn to know exactly what I want to do and declare difference. So I guess that's what I've done differently. And now I'm taking the right steps in building wealth properly.
Thank you for sharing your experience. I mean, for us, there's no embarrassment when we don't get something right. We own up, and then we just make sure that we do things better, and that's the essence of this community. Now, if from what you've just said, I want to go to my next question, which some of the lessons or some of the errors of your choices at that time. It's multi-level, the question. So I want to know why you went into coaching, finance coaching. You're a chartered accountant. Why did you go into coaching? How has it been coaching? It's multi-level questions. And what's the value in the people around the call working with coaches and mentors? I linking it to that last question, because if you had an accountability partner or someone you were working with, do you think you would have made that mistake? So I want you to tell us why you decided to start coaching and your experiences, maybe why coaching, are there lessons for people around the call, and the value of working with a coach or a mentor?
Oh, thank you so much for that question, because coaching, so first of all, take it a step backwards. And I feel this will help someone. I'm just saying. So I've always known I love to talk. And growing up, I've been in spaces from university days. I've always been in spaces where I just love to express myself, especially when I know something. However, I didn't know that that was supposed to be a skill called coaching at the time. I just lived life and just continued doing what I knew how to do best for myself. But when it dawned on me that, oh, I need to take this properly, is I am again just immediately after the scheme crashed, and I realized that I had lost a lot of money, and I know how bad I felt during the period, and I'm like, you are a chartered accountant though. I was a chartered accountant by that time. It's not like I was just someone walking on the street. I'm like, you're a chartered accountant and you still fell for something like this. I think you should go and read more. And that was when I started reading more. And because I had already had already had the understanding that I think I know how to talk well and I know how to convince people. And in fact, that particular scheme helped me know that I am really good at convincing people, because when I speak to people around me, they were really convinced. So I took that like, oh, okay, if I can get the right knowledge and share it with people, I feel that they can also like believe it and take the right action. So that was what made me start coaching fully, like as a job. Excuse me, please, I need to call. Yeah, thank you. So that was what made me take coaching really seriously and then just grow from there. So it started fully 3 years ago, but prior to 3 years ago, I've always known I had the skill to talk. I think that's the first part of your question. What was the second part of your question, please?
Well, the value for the people around the call to work with coaches and have people hold their hands when they are talking about money.
Yeah. So accountability is like, it's like one of the biggest things you can have around yourself. I believe that if I like took accountability really seriously, like having an accountability partner a lot seriously, I wouldn't have even fallen for quite a number of schemes. I mean, I'm saying quite because it was more than one prior to 3 years ago. So, but having an accountability partner is really good. Like Coach rightly said here, she even at her level, she still has someone deeper that she reaches out to, and that is indirectly an accountability partner. So having an accountability partner, being in a group of people that pushes you to do the right thing is very important, because sometimes as a human being, you are sometimes you don't just want to do the right things. This and it's not a bad thing. It's just how the human nature is. Sometimes you don't just want to take the right steps, you don't want to do the right things, or you don't even know the right things to do. But if you're in a group or in a space that everyone is pushing, everyone is striving, everyone is trying to be the best they can, I feel like that's such a good thing or to do and to have.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please put specific questions that you have in the chat box? I have other people apart from Deepo around the call, and I do have so many questions for both Wumi and Deepo, but we'll take as many as we can. But this is a safe space. Feel free, put your questions in the chat box. One of the things I said to you, Coach Wumi, when we were chatting was that I like to be very practical with these questions, right? Want to be real. I said it in the course of talk earlier on that I'm a Christian. And so we are told that we should not say, how do they say it, T-pain. We shouldn't say T-pain. We should confess positive about Nigeria. The reality is that many people are struggling. the economic reforms that we pray and hope will make Nigeria better down the road is currently very hard on people, private sector, public sector, people in government and all of that. And so people have they're earning, right? And it's just not enough. People are struggling. And you and I are talking wealth creation. We're saying, wealth creation. But, we said, how do you manage and create wealth? Now, for someone whose income is not even enough, where would that person start from? And I'm just being real here. Where a person, they may not even be in Nigeria experiencing whatever is happening. It may be anywhere else. And even I have friends in America who things are very tough for right now, So I'll probably say all over the world. So for people earning income, they have jobs, they have businesses, the income is not enough. But we're saying grow wealth. Where do you think they should start from? And what should they be doing?
Thank you for that question again. It starts from within. And as much as that may sound very cliche, everybody says start from where you are, it's not far-fetched. You have to discover first what else you can do outside what you're currently doing that can give you the money. And I'll try to go very practical as well. And I'll use one of the examples I've given already on this call. I was doing a job. I was doing a 9 to 5, like every other person out there. And I'm still doing a 9 to 5, by the way. Like I still work a job. But I remember that I had a skill of talking and convincing people and like to get something done. And I decided to turn that into what is now called coaching. So it starts from, you need to first of all look within and know what is that skill that I think I have that can help me. Yours, again, I tell people I cannot do business. I cannot do business of buying and selling goods. I would pretty much just dash everybody the goods because I can be that free with people. So I know that that's doing any business that would make me to buy and sell goods is not something that will work well for me. So, and I've discovered that. So yours may be like you are really good at selling something to people in terms of goods. Why not look within and look at what can you do in that regard? The second thing I would say is everybody says get a skill, get a skill. But the truth is nobody's going to teach you a skill for free. I mean, not everybody is as kind as you to hold sessions like this for free. Most people will, especially those that are teaching it like as a course or teaching it like for people to gain something out of it, they would not teach you this thing for free. So you have to come to that understanding that you need to create an income somewhere to be able to upskill. And again, I'm speaking to people that already have like one income source. So I will come to people that don't even have income source at all. At least you have an income source, and that's where budgeting comes to play. You need to learn how to plan out that income. I get people say this a lot. Oh, I don't even have enough. How do I keep out money to do something else? You will never have enough if you continue saying that to yourself because money is never enough. Even me, as I'm here like this, I still need more money. Everybody, I'm sure Coach Abimora still needs more money. I'm sure Coach Dibom still needs more money. Everybody needs more money in life. So you need to like come to that understanding and that consciousness that I need to start from here. If I earn 100,000, okay, let me make it even more practical. I know someone that reached out to me, and at the time she reached out to me, she didn't even have a source of income. And I told her, investing is not your own goal at this time. Go and look for a source of income. Because how do you want to start investing? How are you on an investing and wealth building session when you don't even have a source of income? Where do you want to start from? So I told her, go and get a stable job. When you get a stable job, we can now have a conversation from there. And then she went and came back and told me that, she had a 100,000 naira job now. And I was like, okay, that's a good step. Let's start from there. And this happened as close as last year, June. And thankfully, that was the period Fidelity Bank in Nigeria released their initial public offer. So they were looking for more money and they started to we have shares, give me your money, I'll give you shares in return. And that is what is like an initial public offer. So I told her, I'm like, okay, you have 100,000 naira salary. Fidelity Bank had just released their shares and it was going for 9.75 kobo as at then when they released it at initial public offer. So I'm like, so this is not a case of you don't have money. This is going to be a case of you don't want to do it. Now we've moved past the I don't have the money, and you've moved to having a stable income, though it's very small, but you can now start talking about investing in something no matter how little. And long story short, she bought a couple of shares from Fidelity Bank. I think she bought just, is it 20,000 naira worth? We all know, okay, just in case you don't know, I don't like to assume. 6 months down the line, the same Fidelity Bank shares is going for 19 to 20 naira the last time I checked. So if she gave herself the excuse that that money was never enough, it would truly be never enough. And then she probably wouldn't have made the gain she obviously has made now from just taking that decision. So first of all, look within. What skill do you currently have that you think you can like improve on and then eventually monetize? Then secondly, budget the money you currently have, because you will need to pay for some upskilling. If you want to go into one that is really very popular now, which is content creation, visibility. That's what I like to call it. Going like being visible. Some of these gadgets you will need to buy them, and you won't buy them with the blood of Jesus. You will buy them with money, right? Some of the people you may want to learn something of, they would need you to pay for it. So you need to create out money for that. I hope I'm answering the question right, and I hope I'm really helping someone to understand that they can be really better with themselves. And then for people that don't even have a source of income at all, my best advice would be go and get a job. Go and start from getting a job. Find a job, like something that can pay you a stable income. Now, if you cannot find a job, then the very next option is to carry your camera, place it in front of anywhere, and start recording a video, because that's like the easiest like space someone can go into now and actually make something out of it in the very short run. I mean, the algorithm doesn't care about anyone. It can blow you out, it can bring you in. So that's like one very easy skill someone can start. I hope that helps.
Yes, you did. You did. I just have one more question for you, and I'll give you a break and go to Deepo. I hear you. It's easy for me to take in because of my background, and my experience. So I know what you're talking about, and I know what's possible and what's not possible. But I want you to, because you talked about budgeting.
Yeah.
Talked about budgeting. And my question started from people who are earning, and the purchasing power of what they've earned is no more, getting them what they should. There's a difficult question that I want to put to you, and it stems from, the budgeting that you're talking about. These people who are not earning so well and who are looking, for more income, more money to be able to live better and do things, get to the level that we're talking about. Is it possible to save money under those hard circumstances?
There will always be hard circumstances, and that's just the bitter truth. So it's how we are able to navigate our way out of those hard circumstances that is the better like experience everybody looks for. Again, budgeting is just planning. If your purchasing power is now lower, then you need to plan your current income in a different form. So, and most time people use the 50-30-20 rule, but it may not apply to everybody depending on your circumstance. What does the 50-30-20 rule mean? It means that you should just divide your income into three. 50% should go into the things you spend on every single month or every single year. I mean, every single year, because if I'm talking to people in Nigeria, you pay your rent like annually, not monthly. The things you have, your food and all of that. The truth is, and that's just the bitter truth, you need to plan your income. If you don't
We have
plan
an
it
echo.
out,
We have an echo from you. Oh, no, sorry, it's not you. David Omochi. Please go on.
okay, thank you. So you need to plan what you currently earn. You can use the 50-30-20 rule. You can use that 50% of your income goes into compulsory things, 30% of your income is supposed to go into things you are still happy to buy, and 20% of your income is supposed to go into things that you can, go into savings and investment. As hard as it sounds, you still have to save. As hard as it sounds, you still have to. That's why I'm like, you need to create something. That's why I use the example of 100,000 naira. And I mean, for the current Nigerian situation, 100,000 naira is considered very low income because the economy is really, really tough. Take that back. The economy is like it's looking like it's everywhere, and you can push through, but you can only push through if you take actionable steps to push through. You can join as many webinars as possible. You can talk to so many people as possible. If you don't take actionable steps, you will just be in the same cycle, earning the same income annually or monthly, and not really doing much about it. So it falls back to you. What is that next step you need to take to get you to where you want to be? I cannot come and tell you the next step that you need to take because I don't know you and what suits you best. But as on general terms, I've given 3 things. Start content creation. Look inward and know what skill you can develop and then start using it. And then thirdly, you can even get a second job if required or if necessary. I mean, it's not a bad idea. Or you could plan out your income and start a really, really simple business, right? There are quite a number of businesses out there. I can't start mentioning all of them. You can start a very little business from your current cycle. Just find something, I beg you. Like, I don't know how to explain this in
I
more
think,
clearer terms,
I think your message is
but
very clear.
find something, yeah.
Your message is clear. You're talking about the 50-30-20 earlier on.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody who lives who is feeling the pressure of the economy wherever in any part of the world where they are at, that would not already know, for example, that they shouldn't follow the Joneses. I have some friends, they are millionaires in foreign currency, not Nigerian naira. And, they inspire me because there's no kind of ashwabi that you pressure them into taking. And it's not because they can't afford it. It's just on principle basis. So I think, habits, people need to change habits. But we know the circumstances would even tell you that, look, things have to change. I hear you saying it over and over again, look for new means, other sources of income, multiplicity of, sources of income. Don't stay stagnated with just or focused on where your salary and all of that, where you're at. And it's a little bit, it's a little bit easier in Nigeria because there are so many things, there's so many services that should be given, that are not being, I don't want to, because I'm married to a person that is politically exposed, so I'm being careful. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that there are services that, people can offer in Nigeria and they can, make money from those things. People that live abroad can take second jobs. They can take, third jobs and all of that. But the truth is that even the first job is difficult to get in Nigeria. But I hear you and I'm with you on this. There's nothing impossible. It's even in that situation of toughness that you have to look inwards and say, what can you save on? I don't know. There might be some people around the call that say, I've not eaten and she's talking, what can I save on? But I hear you clearly that even in the toughness, it is possible, and so one of the things, and I do have some of my mentors on the call, one of the things that I am usually told is that I need to break it down and let people understand, these things that we're recommending. And if you are in a position right now where the income you're earning is not enough, and some of the things that Coach Womi is talking about, and we're talking about, it's just like, what are they talking about? Please reach out to us. Between us, we can look into your background, look into your location, look into where you are at, and see what you can do and offer, extra, yes. During the week, somebody was looking for me desperately, and I thought it was a life and death matter. She was like, Madam B, please pick your phone, please pick your phone. And what was happening? she lives abroad, and so she was trying to connect her children to lesson teachers in Nigeria. And so she was looking for support on setting up the Zoom because the first lesson was going to start. And somebody was beside me, and the person said, wow, that's another source of income. So location, you can offer, I'm just saying this is just one of it. And I have to stop now because there's a mentor that says is around the corner. I always take back my question from my guests. Anyway, the last question for you. Yeah. I said this was the last, but I just want to dovetail from, this conversation. You're in the United Kingdom. You're living in the UK. We have a few people in the UK around the call, some in Nigeria, like I said, and in other places. What are things that, I want to take it to the Ajo one. So for people living abroad, it's easy to go into the bank and have any savings scheme, try and save and put your money somewhere safe.
Yeah.
You're Nigerian, and so you know what Esusu is. Do you know it? Do you know what Esusu is? Yorubas call it Ajo.
Ajo, yes.
Do you think that people living abroad should use Esusu and Ajo as a source of savings? And I asked that question for a reason. I read on Instagram during the week of a young lady who had migrated to North America and joined a group of whatever Esusu, and I don't know how maybe she doesn't have coaches, maybe she doesn't have forums like this, she doesn't have friends like us, and she ended up being the last person to pack. And at the time of being the last person to pack, every other person disappeared on her. I just wanted to comment about that. There are so many aspects of this thing that I've just said. Number one, you live in the UK. Would you support a job by people living in the UK doing it in Nigeria, or even doing it in the UK?
Okay, so it's not a yes I support or no I don't support Ajo. I wouldn't give that kind of answer. I rather like give reasons why you should or you should not, and then allow people take their decision. First of all, Ajo, from my understanding, is supposed to be done with trusted, in quotes, people. So if you are living in the UK and then you suddenly start trusting, I mean, a lot of people came here as like first generation migrants, some they are children of migrants and all of that. So most of the time, the people you have around you, you pretty much just met them here. Just a few people came from like your country area where you knew them from back home. So if our joy is supposed to be for trusted people, these trusted people should be people that you've known for a really long time, right? That you literally know. I like to play a lot and say you literally know how to go and catch them in their house. If anything, if he needs to get them, if he needs to get to that level, right? So for people that want to go into Ajo has been considered as a good, in quote again, way to have bulk money. It's not a good way to save. It's a good way to have bulk money to do something. So I don't technically call that savings, especially if you are the one to collect last. You just kept your money somewhere and collected it. That if you don't collect at the end of the day. So from the financial perspective, obviously I will tell you Ajo is not good. Like it's not supposed to be done. However, from the Nigerian perspective in me, and the fact that I know that humans will always be humans, we will always be people that want to do a job, people that want to do it. So try going in a fairly legal way. And I recently discovered that in the UK, I don't know if that app cuts across other countries, there's an app called the Bloom app, BLWOM. And someone, I think she's from the Asian community, understands that Ajo is not just common to Africans. It cuts across. So even the Asian community practice that a lot, and that's what they use to really finance, like maybe buying houses and all of that in their community. So she created an app which is backed up by the FCA. FCA is a regulation in the UK, and specifically for Ajo. So if you really have to do an Ajo, try and do it through the right channel. That's what I would pretty much say. But we have seen, and Ajo has proven to be a very good source to get bulk money to do something. However, it's only advisable you do it with people that you know. And you can't trust people 100%. People that you know, people that you can literally get to their houses and see them, people that you know, not just people maybe you met in church or people that you met online. That's even like the worst set to go with. That's pretty much what I want to say. But generally, even in the financial institutions, they do not like when they see a jaw as a means to do something. But again, we're Africans, we are Asians, we always want to like delve into our. So yeah, that's what I pretty much have to say to you. If you have to do it, then look for trusted sources to do it, especially if you're in the UK. And I've just given you one, the Bloom app, and also try and do it to people that you know as much as possible, and you can like trace them down to their houses, trace them down even to their villages if you have to do so in Africa. That's pretty much what I'll say.
Thank you very much. Can you please help us put in the chat box, what you referenced, the savings, the app in the UK. Dipo, could you please put on your camera? Timilai and Dorcas, if you're kind enough, can you put Coach Womi's Instagram details in the chat box for people to follow her page? I think you've put ours. Thank you, Dipo. I'm ready with. I'll come back to you, Womi, for the last few comments that you have for us, and thank you for doing this with us. One of the reasons we do this is because we listen to ourselves and we ask ourselves questions if we're doing the right things, and then we learn. You and I shared our experience, during earlier in the year. You shared over 5 years, you shared your lessons, and people take, actions back. And thank you so much for saying it's one thing to hear, but we have to take action. I heard you say that. We have to take action, right? Thank you so much. Dipo, do you take a cup of water? You're muted.
Fine.
Have you taken a cup of water?
Yes, I am fine.
Thank you so much. I want to come back to that question about my niece. And thank you for explaining, because, you took her as a case study and you analyzed for her scenario. And like I said, that's free service. Now, maybe I did not elaborate well the question, what I wanted you to get at. What I'm asking is, for people like Coach Womi, and I have other friends that live abroad that are around the call, is this the time for them to look into investments in Nigeria? Or should they, is there a risk, or are they better off with their 4% and 3% in the, fixed deposits in the banks in the UK and other places?
Okay, thank you very much. Am I audible enough?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, thank you. So basically, when you look at the ROI for both clients, the Nigerian and probably the UK, America, and Canada, you have relative stability over there in comparison to ours here. However, for you to earn those kind of returns, you thrive on the movement across the instability, the curve in the Nigerian market. So that being said, I would always advise get a balanced portfolio. For first things first, you look at your exposures. It determines the amount you are going to play with, because irrespective of the amount of returns we are hoping to get in the Nigerian climb, we all know that over the years we've suffered a bit of reputational damage with instability in policies, instability in the market movements. But by and large, with what the stock markets, I keep hammering on that because I know I've goofed on that myself too this year. What the stock market has done this year, I think it's a very good time to revisit it and do a blend of the stock market and the money market. A 20% return to a 4% return is quite huge in gap. So I would want to assume that you can keep relative amounts over there, and I wouldn't even advise you do a fixed deposit of 4%, because I mean it's quite paltry. I would rather invest in some stocks. I mean, you just heard what NVIDIA is doing. and the likes. Also balance it, also in line with the age of the investor and everything. But by and large, come to the Nigerian market, it's a bonanza right now. And from what we are seeing, there's relative stability in the foreign exchange market where you run the most amount of risk. So you plan an exit around a worst case scenario of maybe a 10% depreciation in the naira. Planning vis-a-vis the return you're going to earn on whatever investment you choose. Then you now compute it with the opportunity cost of what you're getting. Say, for example, USD to naira today is 1.6. You plan a worst case scenario of you exiting at say 1.8. That means originally you've already lost about say 12% on foreign currency exchange. Now, you'd be looking at earning a 25%, a 30%, which is very achievable in the stock market and even in the money market in Nigerian space. Then you compare that with a 4%, a 5%, you see that you are relatively better off in the Nigerian climb. I hope that answers the question.
Very clear, very clear. Free service again. That's why people should be friends with Finance Coach BK. See the free kind of service I'm bringing to the table. Thank you, Dipo. Thank you so much. And I can see Joshua giving you some thumbs up from Benin. You go pay, Josh. I'm just joking. Thank you, Dipo. One of the things that I've seen in this coaching, when I coach people and mentor people financially, is that people are hesitant to start investing. They don't understand the possibilities. That's your area of expertise. Without taking it over ahead, you know the way I'll say, Deepo, calm down, break it down for me. Without getting to that level, come to our level. Please tell people the possible opportunities that, you know, in the capital market, you know, money market, anything, the opportunities that are available. And maybe the starting point, how much, what can people start with? And maybe in explaining, I know you help me directly, you help me in explaining, you can also talk about the kind of things that you can help people with, which your company, you know, supports with.
Okay, thank you very much. First things first, I need to point out that a lot of people lay emphasis on savings than investment. I'm of the school of thought that before you are adept at investments, you must have a savings culture, particularly when you are building organically from you don't have a trust fund you're relying on or one big inheritance that is being bequeathed upon you.
You're not a next of kin to Big Cubana.
So you're generally starting from the scratch, from ground zero, from your own resources. First off, learning to live below what you earn is the first principle. Irrespective of the 50, 30, 20. And how do you even do that? First things first, you need to know how much you're earning, obviously, which is quite the easier step. Then also know what you're spending on. You categorize them under the must-have, nice-to-have, the feel goods and everything. Then from there, you eliminate the ones that you can do without. Is those ones that you would deny yourself possibly for a period of time, delayed gratification, then bulk up together to get your starting point to start investing. It's always good to start your investment journey from your own resources so that when you make the mistakes, you can go back and you don't want to do investment, make mistakes and be indebted. That's 0/2. You've lost in both ways. So you start a savings culture by living relatively below your income, self-denial and delayed gratification. From there, you bulk up and depending on the age, like I always emphasize, you can start buying stock as low as 5,000 naira. And the good thing about it is that with technology now, a lot of stockbroking apps are there. I don't want to do free adverts for anyone. You can always get them, fund your account on the app. you start to make your purchases. Most of these stockbroking companies give recommended shares that you can buy. There are information you look out for, the earning per share. I don't go into all those financial jargons for now, but there are indices to look out for in determining the one you should buy. And gradually, you start to scale up. If you have a culture, say for example, 5,000 naira is what you can afford to put aside. Maybe the 5,000 naira is supposed to be what you use to hang out with your friends monthly. You say for the next 6 months, I want to deny myself this hangout. 5,000 to my stockbroking accounts every month. Whatever I can buy, I buy 5,000 naira worth of First Bank. I mean, if you had done 5,000 worth of GT Bank, when it was 53 naira, and it's about 103 now. That 5,000 is about 10,000 naira. And we all know the stock market in Nigeria has been on an upward trend for the past couple of weeks, particularly the bank, since the recapitalization and all of that. And because there's relative stability in the Nigerian economy, so industries are able to position better and take more stable decisions. It's reflecting it's reflecting in the outputs generally. Stability is very, very key. So our advice, stock market, there are even instruments as low as 5,000, 10,000 for the savings bond. Savings bond gives you 18% per annum. I mean, those ones, you really don't need too much sophistication to start with it. I'm looking at it from the perspective of a relatively low income earner. Now, for larger income earners, you scale up based on the proportion of the disposable income you have to you, because it's foolhardy to have major expenses coming your way and focus on investments. You might end up terminating a promising investment prematurely and you lose entirely. So it's always key. Don't be under the pressure of wanting to invest. Be careful. It's better to take consistent but relatively smaller steps. You would get there. It might be longer. You would get there safer than just rushing. And because GT Bank is 100 naira now, doesn't mean it's time for you to jump into it. People will there'll be profit taking. So it's always good, aside having the principle in place, work with someone that will hold your hands. You might be lucky. Some do it for free, some for a fee, but it's always important that you have people in your circle that you would rely upon for such information. I don't know if I've answered your question.
You did, but you did not emphasize how you can support.
Okay, how I can support? Simple.
What services?
Okay.
Yeah. Because
basically,
I'm
financial
asking
advisory.
because I have a couple of friends who live abroad who are around the call. Yeah?
Okay, financial advisory. First things first, we would work with you to know your income. With time your income, we will seek to know your exposures in terms of recurrent expenditure, expected capital projects. It is only then that we can decide, okay, yes, you earn $100,000 per annum. Your rent, your mortgage takes about 30% off it and all of that. When we know what's available, then of course we can go back to what I said earlier, cross over to Naira, do a blend of the Nigerian stock market and a blend of fixed income instruments, having done a worst case scenario analysis in depreciation of the Naira to about 12 or 15%, and see that we will still get about double of the returns you would get in your home country. So yes, we will do that. But in the first instance, I always like to sit down and analyze the investment stage. The advice I would give to a 30-year-old investor is different from what I would give a 55-year-old who has already, I'm not mentioning name, but if you feel attacked.
And they know themselves, so they know themselves, and it's not me, they know themselves.
People that are already at their soft life, chopping life stage, I won't give the same advice to a 30-year-old or a 28-year-old person. So
okay, thank you very much, Dipo. And so what Dipo is saying is, or what I am saying is that I can connect you to Dipo, and based on your age, your gender, the stage of life that you are at, the experiences you've had, your current job or your current business, he can design something. Of course, he's not forcing it down your throat. He can design and help you. And then if you're living abroad and you're looking for outlets to invest in Nigeria, he can tell you, this is a CBEX-like thing. This is where you can go to bed, you can go to sleep, and not worry about where your investments will be kept. And I'm also aware that they also help people to invest. You can also put your money in their funds and they invest for you. Thank you, Dipo. I think if we have time, we'll come back to you, but the world is not afraid of the mentor around the call who always says I should keep to time. I'll come back to you, Womi. The questions they're not in any particular pattern. I'm just looking at what will benefit the people around the call the most. As I'm talking to you, I'm looking at the people who have chosen to spend their 1 hour with us. I can see 3 of my friends who are business owners. They are entrepreneurs in Nigeria. I'm not going to ask you any particular question. I just want you to speak to them as entrepreneurs who are interested in wealth creation and doing things better. They've chosen to spend some time with us this evening. Thank you, Mrs. Awoyemi, for joining us, and thank you, Gabrielle. I can see you. Those are business people. I can see Angie. Angie is corporate stroke business branding. She's a senior executive in our organization, but branding into, she owns a business. She's also on the call. So please talk to them. Three of them and any other person who may be a business person around the call.
Okay, thank you. If you're a business person, and sorry, the call just came into my phone. Yeah, so can we still see me and hear me?
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay, perfect. So if you're a business person, and I think the very next step is just to venture into what I would call investing, because that's where wealth is built. Yeah, and if we are on this call to talk about building wealth, then we should just tell ourselves the truth. There's a reason why a huge percentage of the rich, in quotes, have investments in the stock market. It just tells us that that's a good place to actually make money from. And I remember mentioning earlier that there's a very clear difference between trading and investing. And when, as a business person, I would recommend that you look towards investing in stocks. And if you look towards investing in stocks and shares, you are simply just co-owning companies, co-owning companies in Nigeria, co-owning companies abroad, and there are applications that can help you go through this. It's like a simple four-step plan. You look for, just like you have different banks, that's how you have different applications, which we call brokers, that can help you access the stock market. Again, you can work individually with coaches that can give you direct advice on this. But it's just a 4-step process. Look for the broker that you think you want to go with based on certain scenarios. Then number 2, do all the KYC registration on those brokers. 3, you fund the account, simply just putting money into those broker accounts. Look for reliable ones. And to find a reliable broker, if you are in Nigeria, there's a list on the Nigerian Stock Exchange that has a list of registered brokers. So you can go through there and choose the one that you feel you want to go with. Just like Deepa said, I wouldn't want to give free advert to any particular application. So, but yes, you have all this information is online. You just need to create our time to go look for them, or speak to a financial advisor. So, but I've given 3 steps, right? Get the broker, register on those brokers, fund your account, which is by putting money there, and then buy your first, second, third, fifth stock. Like, invest in companies and become co-owners of companies. When you choose to invest in companies, you are just becoming co-owners, and then you can make money off through 2 ways. Number 1 is if those companies make profit, they pay you back something as someone that invested in them, and that's what we call dividends. And at the same time, if the prices go up, which is what you will be looking out for as an investor, because if you put your money somewhere, you want to see it grow, right? And Deepa has given a very good example about GTB. From whatever amount it was, it has gone up to over 100 naira now for one share. So if you had invested in it when it was a lot lower, by now you would just be sitting and smiling to extra money without doing anything extra in quote. So that's like a first step plan to start investing. And one thing I tell people, in addition to all the financial recommendations and everything, look for companies that you see around. Start from the one you can see. Start from the things that the places that, or I would say companies that you see them, you use their products. I like to use, especially if you want to venture into like foreign stocks, I like to use Apple as a very good example. Literally every friend I have around uses an Apple product. You are using Apple phone, you are using Apple laptop, you are using Apple headset. And the question I keep asking them, do you have shares in this
Many
Apple that you are
shares.
using their product everywhere? You can afford to be a customer, but you think you cannot afford to be a co-owner,
No.
which is like an investor. So I feel for business people, you've gone past the phase of looking for money in quotes in terms of having a stable income. You are now in the phase of building that income, and investing is the only way to go to build that income. This is just one investment I've given today, which is like investing in stocks and shares. And then to end that, I would say mindset is very important for building anything. The mindset is like 80% of the work. If you choose to go into investing in stocks, then choose to also keep a 3 to 5 years term in your head. Not believing that you put your money there today, tomorrow you go back and remove it, and then you see plenty money. I'm trying to use very simple terms as much as possible. Yeah, tomorrow you go back and then your money has tripled overnight. No, it's not a Ponzi scheme. No, it's not a multi-level marketing stuff. Is real investment that needs time for it to grow, right? So if you really want to take stocks as something you want to do, then look out for the things I've said earlier and then grow from there. Bonds is another very, very, very good way to invest your money without stress. Treasury bills in Nigeria are doing well lately. It's also a good way to put your money and go and sleep. And then, in fact, treasury bills, I think they even pay you your interest up front. So you get your interest up front and then you go and rest, and then you get your capital at the end of the tenure. And these are all regulated schemes. So you are 100% like guaranteed that your money is not going anywhere, at least for the bonds and treasury bills, and you are sure of getting a return on your investment. Once you can conquer the mindset and remove your mindset of getting money overnight and knowing that money needs time to grow, then you've conquered 80% of whatever thing you need to know about wealth building. I hope I did justice to your
You did,
question,
you
ma'am.
did. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much. Because business people sometimes may get carried away and just keep putting everything back into their businesses. And what you're saying is that they must invest. They must be very intentional and purposeful about investing.
Yeah.
The three women that I mentioned are very strong women, with established businesses and quite hardworking. So thank you very much for sharing that with them this evening. There are so many questions, but I'm learning to be disciplined. When you have a mentor, you have to learn as they are talking to you. But at the risk of being scolded, I have a question for Deepo. Deepo, could you please come back online? There are two questions for you. One question actually, and then you can say what you were trying to say. So Timilayan says, for Coach Deepo, and thank you, Timilayan, because Timilayan's age is within the age band of people who are cryptoing, which is why this question is important. He says, what would be your advice for someone looking to go into trading, Forex or crypto, considering its volatility? What percentage of my income is considered as wise to invest in it?
Yes, I already responded in the chat box, but I would
Oh,
go
you
ahead.
tried to answer. Okay.
So like I did in the chat box, when it comes to volatile investment. The risks and the reward. I mean, we all know you could become a billionaire overnight, and you could become you could go into penury in the same vein too. Exactly. And those things, the underlying instruments for those investments are quite sketchy. So, like I said, you put the amount of money, it's like a gamble. In fact, it's gamble. Unlike the stock market that is gamble based on informed data. Most of the Forex, crypto thrives on data and trend analysis. And even in finance, we say past performance is not a guarantee of future exactly. So I would say that the amount you're willing to part with, that you won't lose, that you won't cry, start small. To be safe, you have a guaranteed return investment of 1 million. The 1 million gives you 100,000. Play around with 20K. Play around with it. If you get good at it, I mean, that's not to say that people are not making money from it. People who have the time. These things, I know because I have been involved before. I've gotten the reward and I've been flogged at it too. It's not something that you just leave and go back. You have to be dedicated 24/7. And sadly, while you're asleep, a news breaks out in South Korea or in North Korea that sculptures the market, and you wake up, your portfolio that is at $1,000 drops to about 400. And where do you start from? In the same vein, something breaks out and it goes up. Case in study, sometime last week, the price of Bitcoin was around $103. It's around 118 as we speak. Now, largely due to, from my own research, the American markets are about to drop interest rates very soon. And we know most times there's always a herd mentality. When rates are going down in some markets, some other instruments benefit from it. So we've seen a general upward movement in the crypto space. We can wake up as well tomorrow and Trump is at a rally somewhere now and he said something and voila, the market reacts negatively. So you have to, if you're going to play in that space, you have to put funds that you would not cry too much if it doesn't return to you. And at the same time, you must have dedicated time. It's not put somewhere and pour water in it like Gary and it swells up. No, you have to constantly be in the mix. So I wouldn't say a percentage of your income you put in. It's very relative, but put in something that you would not cry too much if it doesn't return to you. Yeah, mute, we can hear you.
Thank you for that, thank you. I was just thanking you, Dipo, and thanking Coach Wami for doing this with us. It's 21 minutes after the hour that we started. We can never answer all the questions in these sessions. What these sessions offer to us is an opportunity for people to know and see where they can get help and where they can get solution. For people in the UK, for example, I didn't know about, is it Bloom or Boom? I didn't. Boom. I didn't know
Bloom,
about
BLWOM.
Oh, BL, Bloom. Okay, I didn't know about it, but I have people in the UK. I have young friends. I have family there, you know, and so I can always tell them about this. And I don't know much about this. If they want to know about this now, I just direct them. I say, please go to DM Coach Wami. So the essence of, you know, doing things like this is because we hear, you know, and we learn, we see new things and we take actions back for ourselves. So if you have, and it's possible that people have questions. Coach Wami and I were able to talk about our regrets and things that we didn't do well. There might be some that we are too embarrassed to even share openly. If you want help in any form, you can reach us through financecoachtoday@gmail.com. If you want to have direct access to Coach Wami, we have put her details in the chat box. Deepo is just a phone call away. I'm his, what am I, to be connecting people to you, so I'll be collecting the tithes on it. On a serious note, it's very difficult when you work to get it wrong when you work with experts. Coach Womi was right. There are certain decisions that I'm not going to take without speaking with Deepo. And it's because I've seen value in that. I don't know if I asked Coach Womi earlier on when I said, was there, if you had worked with a coach or an expert when you made the errors earlier on, would you have made those mistakes? Of course not. Now, to wrap up, I'm going to have, thank you, Deepo. I have Engineer Nee on the call, and I've asked him to give us the closing comments by, adding to any part of the conversation that we have had today. I know he likes to talk about investments and shares and all of that, but I don't know what the Spirit is going to, because he's also a pastor. I don't know what the Spirit is going to ask him to wrap up for us today with. Pastor Nee, Engineer Nee, over to you.
Good evening, everybody. You've done very well with time. I should not say anything more than that. I think I will just try and summarize some of the things that have been said. I mean, for business owners, you are going to retire one day. So you need to start to ask yourself, where would that cash flow come from when you are not able to actively run that business? And that's why it's good to also have multiple streams of income, in which case the investment you make out of the profit from that business will help. We've talked about those living abroad. What I will say is this: if you are not invested in Nigeria currently, you are losing. I know that there is a risk in investing in Nigeria. One of the main risks is the risk of devaluation. But what you see, especially if you stay long enough in the market, is that the return compensates for it over time. And like you've had them talking about prices in the past 1 year, the Nigerian market is booming. It will continue to boom because there is a correction that is taking place across all sectors. I will only advise that, especially for the younger ones who get excited with price movement, be careful that you don't invest in dead companies, because there are so many companies on the Nigerian Stock Exchange that you see a lot of price movement, even though they don't have any good fundamentals. But really, this is the time to be in Nigeria. This is the time to invest in Nigeria. Don't wait until people have cream out before you start to come in. And if it's a Forex investment you want to do, there is also the Nigerian Eurobond, even Eurobond by some of the companies that you can participate in. There are collective trusts that you can do if you don't have the minimum 200,000 that they usually ask for. The returns in Nigeria pays for whatever risk you think you have. And I think the risk of devaluation is much reduced now. If you've noticed, the exchange rate has been relatively stable for the past few months. If you notice, they've now said you can use your Naira card for overseas transaction.
Yeah.
What that is signaling to you is stability in the Forex exchange, is stability around the reserve. Is basically telling you you are not likely going to have the kind of massive devaluation that we've had before. One other thing that we've talked about today is investment is not a money doubling scheme. So if what you want is a Bet Naija kind of thing that you put 10 naira, you get 1,000 naira the following day, sorry, that's not investment. The beauty of investment is allowing time to work for you, staying long enough, consistently making the investment over time. After some years, you will be surprised at what compounding will have done for you. There was this question around crypto, Forex trading, and things like that. If I will advise, never invest in an asset that does not generate cash flow for you. Any asset that does not generate cash is more like gambling. And so if you do crypto, the only way you make money, the price of crypto goes up. If the price goes down, then you've made a loss. But if I invest in a house, a property, for example, and the value of the property goes down, for example, for as long as I'm still getting rent, I'm all right. I won't be bothered. The same thing with stocks. I can buy a stock, the price goes down, they are paying me the dividend, I'm all right. But you are in crypto, you are in Forex, you are not going to get anything, you are just playing with the movements in prices. So I would just advise invest in assets that generate cash because cash is king. I think I will stop there because of time.
Thank you very much, Pastor Nee, Pastor Engineer Nee. And before I invite the next person to comment, Pastor Nee has been a speaker at the annual Finance Coach BK workshops. We're going to have the 2025 workshop starting on the 28th of August to 31st of August. And we have the registration details on our website. Pastor Nee supports for free. He's also a mentor to Finance Coach BK and also accountability partner. Thank you, sir. Now I have, I don't know what to call this. I've been on webinars with him, but on Finance Coach BK Conversations, he hardly talks. But he wants to talk today. I will call him my first, no, he's not my first finance coach, my mom. My mom, my dad were the first coaches, but he is my coach, the coach to Coach BK. He's the K in the Finance Coach BK. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. You can talk. I think you can unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Admiral Komalafe, yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for recognizing that I'm here, and good evening, everyone. While listening, I just, a few ideas came into my mind, and I said, really, sometimes or most times, the experience, they said, is the best teacher. And if I keep to myself some of the ideas, I think I might well just be unfair to the younger ones that are around the call. When Coach Womi was speaking, she said we must look for a way of putting something aside if we are making some form of money or the other by way of savings. When I was much more younger, my approach was I assumed that my pay is a percentage of what I was actually earning. And by that, my planning is actually on that percentage. And in most cases, I never really touched the percentage that I've set aside. So what that implies is that I made sacrifices to make sure that whatever I'm spending fell within that percentage that I recognize as my income. Then the balance I set aside as either savings or investment. It can work. And I want to suggest to everyone around this call who is struggling, particularly those who are not earning much, just assume, for instance, that you are earning just 80%. And if actually your salary was just 80% of what you are earning now, you will have still survived. So that is number one. Number two, while we are going for the things that we need, that we like, let's always go for those things that we need. and don't go for things that will be liabilities to you. I want to plead with us. Anything that takes away money from you is a liability. So go for those things only when it is absolutely necessary. And when it becomes necessary, what it means is one way or the other, it's generating income for you. And if that is the case, it is no longer a liability. But once it is taking away money from you all the time, and nothing is coming in through it, it is a liability. And for such things, please try and avoid them until you are comfortable enough to keep them, until you are comfortable enough to ignore whatever it is that is taken away from you. Number 3 is that I have also discovered, or I knew early enough, that planning on a monthly basis is not as good as planning, say, on a quarterly basis. Take, for instance, if you do a cash budget of in every quarter. Take, for instance, if your salary is 100, it is easier and it is, how do I put it now? It is better for you to do your planning on a quarterly basis. That means you are planning on 300,000 in 3 months. It helps you to be able to fix your expenditure along that quarter, rather than just planning on a monthly basis. I will really suggest that if you are in that category, let your planning be quarterly rather than doing it monthly, and do your cash budget on a quarterly basis, and stick to it. And let me end by saying that I want to support Mr. Engineer Pastor Nee, that if you are not investing in Nigeria now, you are actually missing. I will tell you one reason why I think, and it is so. And I think Dipo actually omitted that. There is the political aspect of the analysis that we have done and that we omitted. We all omitted. In the next 1 year or 2 years, because of the election that is coming in 2027 or 2026, I'm not sure which one, 2027, the economy, the people that are managing our economy will do all within their powers to make sure that things don't get worse. The economy is stabilized. So if you are investing now, you are likely going to reap from your investment. I'm just trying to say that the economy will be stable, at least in the next 2 years, and you are not likely going to have issues with the values of Naira, with happenings in the stock market, and so on and so forth. This is debatable. I will want maybe Mr. Nee or Mr. Dipo to say 1 or 2 things about that, but that is my own perspective. That is my own opinion, and I leave it at that. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, Madam BK, and I wish every other person around this call all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Today that I had a confession and I was hoping you wouldn't be on the program is when you chose to attend. I hope you joined late because I had a confession at the beginning of the program. Pastor Nee, your hand is up. If I should do what you normally do to me.
Said we should comment on.
If I should do what you normally do to me about time off.
It's because Admiral called my name, and I think it's spot on. You see, like I said, Nigeria is a risky place to operate. However, if you have a good understanding of without sounding too technical, of the macro economics that is happening, you will see that we are on a trajectory that we are going up. Now, if I tell people that things are improving, things are getting better in Nigeria, everybody scream and say, they went to the market, things are still expensive. And I say, yes, it takes time before it trickles down to the market. But if you look at where we were 2 years ago and where we are now, things are looking up, and you really need to be inside it now. So, for example, some 2 years ago, oil production was about 1 million barrels a day. Now we are at about 1.5, 1.7, hopefully to get to 1.8 by the beginning of the year, to get to 2 million come 2007. What that tells you is there is more money coming to government. There is more money to reflate the economy. There is more money to do business, to pay contractors and things like that. So those are opportunities. And if you come to Nigeria, you will also see that foreign capital is coming in. As a lot of Nigerians are selling their properties to Japa, a lot of people abroad are bringing in their money to come and acquire those assets for cheap, because assets in Nigeria now are very, very cheap compared with any other place in the world. And I will give you this example. This was a friend of mine who has never invested in Nigeria. She's based in the UK. Let me be sure she's not on this call. She's based in the UK.
Oh,
and the first, she just called me out of the blues and said she will want to invest in Nigeria. And I said, okay, buy GTB shares. This was last year around this time. Buy GTB shares. I'm not buying, but I think for you, where you have your investment journey, is a good thing for you to do. And she bought. I can't remember the quantity, but she bought. And sometimes in May, they paid her a dividend. And she was so surprised that, I mean, the dividend yield on GTB then was almost close to 15%. So it was a shocker for her. And she was so excited that when I told her, we have to share out of this your money, she actually sent me part of the money. That tells you how good the returns could be in Nigeria if you enter early enough and you stay long enough. While the risk of devaluation is there, I think it is exaggerated currently. I don't see the Naira going to 2005 to a dollar again. No, it's not going to. I don't see that happening except we go to war. And there is really nothing about that. So people should not be afraid of investing in Nigeria, especially the stock market. Just make sure you buy fundamentally sound stocks, and you will be so excited you did. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you so much. A very big thank you to everybody that's around the call. And I think it's just, and there are some new names and faces that I might not know, but I see a lot of, the regulars of our community. And I thank you so much for creating time to join us and for wanting to do things better. It's very important, like Coach Wami said, that is one thing, but you have to take action. So one of the reasons why we said let's just do this at this time is a look back. What have we done between January and July, and what can we do January and June, and what can we do better July to December? A lot of the people who belong to the Finance Coach BK community, if you were not buying shares when you started, walking with us, by now, listening to these conversations over and over, you should start buying. And so we can all set targets for ourselves towards the end of the year. If you're a member of this community and you haven't started investing in shares, please set a target for yourself, even if it's 50,000 naira, if it's 100,000 naira, just start. Because when you start, I think I heard Coach Wami saying that when you start, then you pick the habit and the pattern of doing. Thank you very much, Admiral Komolafe. Like I said, that's the K in the Finance Coach BK. My name is Bimbo Komolafe, and that's the Komolafe that I answer. That's the gentleman. And when he was talking, I was laughing because I'm not sure exactly how this phrase I want to say, how I saw it, but I think I saw online where they said something that what is worse than a poor young man is a poor old man. That an old man who is poor I can't remember how I read it, but I found it really funny. And what the caption was saying is that it's better for you to suffer in your prime. Be poor, sacrifice now, pay forward. You know, that a poor old man is not, you know, you don't want to be a poor old man or woman, right? And I think it was Pastor Nee who mentioned it for the business owners. There's a need to be very purposeful and intentional about retirement, especially because they own their businesses and they're not like working for employers who have the retirement schemes for them. I know for workers in the UK, I can see a few people in the UK around the call, in addition to Coach Wami. You know, the structure over there, your employers are you're forced to have a retirement scheme. You can even have a supplementary one. I can see Dr. C. There's something called ISA, which is supplementary. You can have that. But for business owners in Nigeria, you have to be intentional. And I think we've spoken about it before. You can go to, there's so many organizations that can help you, you know, to begin to plan and put something away for when you are old. I think Pastor Nee said this, I think Admiral K said it, I'm not sure. But thank you very much, everybody. There's so much we can do, recap, we can start talking and then going, you know, from the beginning to the end again. But it's been a beautiful evening. And I'm sure that it's almost 2 hours, 2 hours of conversation. I think Mrs. Awoyemi put it there, or is it, no, it's Coach Martha. She said that there was a question, a decision. She says, thank you, Coach Wami, Coach Deepo. Deepo is a big man. I think it was Wami that was saying that some people, everyone around the call needs more money. I wanted to tell her that Deepo has enough. Coach Wami, Deepo, Pastor Nee, for sharing your wealth of experience. I've gotten an answer to a 5-year decision I was afraid to take. Yes, Deepo, are you there?
Yes, I said point of correction. I don't have enough. Money is never enough.
I thought you had gone to bed, or I thought you were cycling. So yeah, people have got to value. If it's only Coach Martha, she says she had a decision. And listening to my friends around the call today, she's been able to, you know, come to landing on that decision. I think I saw Mrs. Awoyemi. Okay, no, she was asking to be connected to Deepo. She's a businesswoman. And I saw Gabrielle also. She's a businesswoman. And, you know, there are comments in the chat box. I'm almost jealous of Admiral K. Everybody's thanking him and thanking Coach Womi and Pastor Nee. Nobody's thanking me. Okay, it is well. All right, thank you very much. I'm so grateful to you, Coach Womi, and thank you so much for your patience. We've been at this since May, right? So when did we?
Yeah,
we're still going to do more. We're going to do more. We're going to have sessions that maybe just for women alone or something, or maybe just for people in the UK. We're going to do more, and thank you for choosing to collaborate with us. As you see, we do it for free, but we trust that, you know, God will reward the free efforts at some point down the road. If it's just one of the people listening to us, you know, blowing, you know, the way they say it, they will, according to OBO, they will lift others up. We rise by lifting others up, you know. So thank you very much. Yes, Aleji, thank you for being part of this.
Thank you so much.
Some people have joined with names that I don't know, but I thank you all for joining. Deepo, thank you so much. Odumbi, thank you. Timileyin, thank you for spending your evening with us. And Nelly said she was joining from Port Harcourt. Thank you so much. I wonder how you heard about the program. Maybe Instagram. Thank you. And please follow us online. Dami, thank you for your suggestions. I appreciate. I don't know who joined with Sage Youth Network. Thank you so much for joining. Aleji, Favor Kalada. Is that you? Yes. Favor Richard, Pastor Kalada's daughter. Thank you for joining. Florence Eziono. That was, excuse me. I need to open it up well so I can appreciate people the right way. Yes, Florence Ezioye Chidi. Thank you so much for joining. John Ondoma, thank you. Kunle, our ambassador in New Jersey. We should have a New Jersey specific session. Deepo, most grateful. Coach Martha, thank you. Martin, Melandi, Oga at the top, SMP 35, God bless you, sir. Why didn't I see this on time? You'd have spoken. Good to see you, sir. I don't know who Mary OI is. Thank you for joining us. Nelly, Odukomaya Oluwademiladeogo. Wow, I love this name, Oluwademiladeogo. Beautiful. Mrs. Aoyemi, thank you so much. Olugbodi Babafemi, I hope this is not one of the generals from the Nigerian Navy. Thank you, sir, for joining. Omodumbi, thank you. Rebecca, our session is coming now. You have to teach my followers what you people are doing in North America. Rogo, God bless you, my sis. Sage Youth Network, please reach out to us. Let's know who is joining us from that handle. Shola, if you like, put only S. I know who you are. Similarly, Tunji, thank you for joining. Who else? Who else? And Coach Wami. It's not easy to multitask, you know, raising a young family in the UK and doing a full-time job and still being a coach on the side. I think I should introduce you at some point, Coach Wami, to Dr. T. You're both in Manchester. Are you in Manchester?
Yes, I am. I'm in Manchester.
Okay, I will introduce you at some point to Dr. T.
Oh, that would be nice. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Pastor Nii, thank you very much for your contributions. And if you have comments, you want to give us feedback on how we run the program today, how we can do it better. Your Honor, somebody would have disowned me today. Mrs. Famobiwo, thank you for joining us. That's the mother of my niece that I used as a case study. Celestina, good to see you. Dami Komo, we know you. You like, right? D Komo. Tunji says, I'm not good at making promises, but let's see. I'm not good at making promises, but with God and this community, by force, by fire, must be great. Amen, amen, and amen. Oh, Nelly from Port Harcourt, Aleji sent you the link. How nice of Aleji. I enjoyed the program. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you, Nelly. Follow us online. We're on Instagram, on Facebook. We are also on Twitter. Thank you, Aleji, for sharing the link. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you all. Pastor Nii, I know you will give me my mark privately. Eshegoni, thank you all for always supporting. Coach Wami, I hope you had a nice time today.
Yes, I did.